Doja Kim, a 28-year-old contract worker living a mundane life, whose sole passion lies in reading an obscure web novel, 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse, or TWWSA. Despite its staggering 3149 chapters, the novel faded into obscurity, averaging only a single view per episode. Doja's view. For 10 years, through bullying, academic failures, difficult military service, and precarious employment, TWWSA was his constant companion. He reflects on his lonely life, feeling his name Doja, meaning reader or individualist, might be a curse. On the subway ride home, the very day the novel's epilogue is due, he interacts awkwardly with his popular and successful colleague, Sanga Yu. He admires her diligence as she studies Spanish, contrasting it with his own niche hobby. He internally acknowledges their different paths in life, seeing her as a potential heroine, while feeling himself firmly rooted in the nonfiction genre as merely a reader. He knows she wouldn't understand his decade-long dedication to TWWSA, a story he considers a masterpiece written uniquely for him. He feels bittersweet that this constant presence in his life is ending. Suddenly, his phone buzzes. It's a message from TLS-123, the author of TWWSA. The author thanks Doja, revealing the story won an unknown contest and will become paid content starting today at 7 p.m. As a token of gratitude for Doja's solitary readership, the author offers a special present and asks for his email. Doja complies, hoping for a gift card, and receives an email just minutes before the deadline. The message wishes him well and cryptically states the gift will help you, confirming the paid content transition begins at 7 p.m. sharp. When Doja tries to access the free version one last time, it's already gone. Precisely as his phone clock strikes 7 p.m., the subway lights extinguish, and the train screeches to a violent halt, plunging the car into darkness and panic. Passengers scream, fearing a terrorist attack. Amidst the chaos, blinding lights flash, and a distorted, otherworldly voice crackles through the car, struggling to announce an evacuation before clarifying its message. The free service of the 8612th planetary system has come to an end. The main scenario will begin now. Standing amidst the terrified crowd and crackling energy, Doja Kim understands. The cryptic present, the timing, the announcement, it all aligns with the novel he spent a decade reading. It was at that exact moment he realizes that the genre of his life irrevocably shifted from mundane reality into the apocalyptic fantasy he alone knows how to navigate. As the shocking announcement about the main scenario hangs in the air, an impossible creature materializes amidst the panicked passengers. Small, furry, wearing a straw garment and bearing 2 horns, it floats midair. While some onlookers confusedly shout out its name, it's a dakibai. Doja Kim recognizes it instantly, not from myth, but from the opening pages of the novel TWWSA. The line between the fiction he consumed and the reality he inhabits shatters completely. Initially, the dakibai speaks incomprehensible gibberish, adding to the confusion as passengers speculate about augmented reality or dismiss it as ugly. Doja, however, knows this creature heralds immense tragedy. His colleague Sanga even mistakes the garbled speech for Spanish. The dakibai, annoyed, clarifies that its language patch was malfunctioning before addressing the crowd clearly. It dismisses their mundane concerns about movie auditions or compensation, callously revealing that the timing 7 p.m. on a crowded subway was deliberately chosen to maximize the impact of its paywall initiation. As passengers erupt in protest and fear, Doja understands with chilling certainty the horrifying events described in the novel are about to unfold. He knows he must intervene but feels powerless. The dakibai, irritated by the noise, declares it will enforce silence. In the next instant, chaos turns to visceral horror as multiple passengers' heads explode without warning, splattering the carriage with gore. The dakibai coldly confirms this is not a movie, dream, or novel, but their new, brutal reality. It mocks their previously cushy lives, declaring the era of enjoying life's basics without cost is over. Nothing is free anymore. When one passenger, Mr. Han from the finance team, known for his connections, attempts to bribe the creature with promises of earthly money, the dakibai laughs. It explains that human currency is merely an intersubjective agreement, worthless now in this new dimensional context. It warns Mr. Han that another such attempt will cost him his life. Declaring it's time for them to earn value in this new system, the Dokibai snaps its fingers. System messages begin to chime, ding, and the creature announces the opening of channel by 7623 and the arrival of the constellations. Suddenly, a translucent blue screen appears before every passenger, displaying the horrifying first task. Main Scenario 1, prove your value. The objective, kill one or more living organisms within 30 minutes. The reward is 300 coins. The penalty for failure is simply death. With a chilling smirk, the Dokibai wishes them luck, expressing anticipation for the interesting story about to unfold as survival instincts clash in the confined space. In the immediate aftermath of the scenario's announcement and the Dokibai's appearance, disbelief reigns. Passengers frantically try to contact the police, but calls won't connect. Doja, recognizing the creature from the novel TWWSA, struggles with the impossible reality unfolding before him. He attempts to ground his terrified colleague, Sangha, by framing their situation as a game with rules they need to figure out, drawing parallels to an apocalypse survival game she might know from work. Internally, however, Doja grapples with the horrific confirmation. The floating Dokibai, the blood-soaked cabin, the specific details like an old woman praying fervently, all scenes ripped directly from the pages of the novel he's read for 10 years. The horrifying truth solidifies. TWWSA is coming to life and survival is paramount. Amidst the rising panic, a man in uniform, Lieutenant Hyunseong Lee, steps forward, attempting to assert control using his military authority. He tries to calm the crowd, citing a national emergency based on a message received from his unit. While passengers desperately question him, Doja experiences another profound shock. He recognizes Hyunseong Lee by name and rank. Though he's never met the man, Doja knows him as a significant supporting character from TWWSA, often referred to as the Steel Blade. This realization deepens the mystery, as Doja is certain Lieutenant Lee wasn't supposed to appear this early in the story's sequence of events. As Doja contemplates this deviation, a passenger points to a nearby screen displaying a news broadcast. The Prime Minister is addressing the nation about unidentified terrorist attacks occurring across the country, another event Doja recalls vividly from the novel. The passengers cling to this explanation, but Doja knows the grim truth. His internal confirmation is violently validated when the broadcast is suddenly interrupted by the Prime Minister's on-screen death. The Dokibai reappears, crackling with amusement and annoyance. Mocking their lingering disbelief and reference to terrorism, it declares them slow learners. Deciding they need stronger motivation, it arbitrarily raises the scenario's difficulty. The time limit for main Scenario 1 is slashed from 30 minutes to just 10. Worse still, a new, terrifying penalty is added. If the first kill doesn't occur within the next 5 minutes, every single person in their subway cabin will be terminated instantly. Panic explodes anew. Lieutenant Lee attempts to maintain order, but his authority means little now. Doja observes the unfolding chaos, noting how closely it mirrors the novel's beginning, yet a nagging feeling persists that something crucial is slightly off, particularly the absence of another key character he expected to see. His thoughts are interrupted as violence erupts in the adjacent train car. Passengers trying to flee or enter are blocked by an invisible barrier. The scenario isolates each cabin. To emphasize the stakes, the Dokibai projects a live feed from another affected location, Channel Bay 23515, Tipung Girls High School. The students there, having also failed to act within the initial 5-minute window, face the horrific penalty. Doja and the others watch in frozen terror as the feed displays the brutal, instantaneous massacre of the high school students. The Dokibai then highlights the sole, traumatized survivor, a second-year student named Jihai Lee, before turning back to Doja's cabin with a chilling smile, asking if they found the display fun. The grim reality of their own imminent fate hangs heavy in the blood-soaked air. Doja grappled with a growing sense of unease. While the horrific spectacle mirrored the events of TWWSA, details felt wrong. Lieutenant Hyunseong Lee's premature appearance, the mixing of familiar plot points with unexpected deviations reality wasn't adhering strictly to the script he knew. His frustration mounted. If only he could reread the novel, he'd understand the discrepancies. Then, a flicker of memory, the author's email, the cryptic promise that the attached present would help him. Accessing the email again, Doctor realized the impossible. The author TLS-123 hadn't sent a mere gift card, but the entire 3149 chapter text file of 3 ways to survive the apocalypse. At that exact moment, system notifications chimed. He'd received an exclusive attribute and an unlocked skill slot, standard boons for survivors in TWWSA's world. However, when he tried to access the attributes window to identify his new abilities, the system denied him, adding another layer of confusion. Putting aside the attribute mystery, Doja opened the massive text file. Instantly, another system message flashed, his attribute activated, granting him superhuman reading speed. He blazed through the novel's opening, the words processing almost instantaneously. Bingo, the pieces clicked. Reading the source text revealed the crucial detail his memory had missed. The true protagonist of TWWSA's prologue wasn't in this subway cabin, 3807, but the one directly behind it, 3707. This explained the subtle differences he'd sensed. This realization carried a horrifying implication. Doja recalled the fate of cabin 3807 in the original story, utter annihilation, save for 2 specific survivors. He looked around the blood-spattered car and recognized one of them, Namwoon Kim, a young man already descending into brutality, currently threatening an elderly woman. Doja knew now with chilling certainty that according to the original plot, everyone in this cabin, including himself and Sangha, was destined to die, except for Namwoon Kim and Lieutenant Hyunseong Lee. As Namwoon began viciously attacking Mr. Han, Doja watched the scene unfold exactly as described in the novel, recognizing Namwoon as one of the first characters to fully embrace the kill or be killed ethos of the new world. Namwoon rallied others, driving the terrified passengers towards violence against the elderly woman by emphasizing the time limit and the collective death penalty. Doja felt like a detached spectator, recalling lines from TWWSA about executioners diffusing blame. He knew the nameless old woman was supposed to be the first sacrifice in this cabin. He wrestled internally, intervening could disrupt the narrative he relied upon, potentially erasing his unique advantage, yet remaining passive felt morally reprehensible. When the compassionate Sangha instinctively moved to help, Doja forcefully stopped her, understanding her kindness was futile here. She wasn't the heroine of this story, and intervention would likely mean her death. His hesitation wasn't born of fear nor acceptance of the brutality. Doja Kim, the sole reader, was calculating. He was waiting, watching the horrific scene play out, biding his time for the perfect moment to act, a moment only he, with his knowledge of the future, could recognize. As the timer ticked below 8 minutes and Namwoon moved in for the kill, Doja knew that moment had arrived. Finally, he broke from his passive stance and dashed into the deadly fray. Doja Kim surged into the volatile chaos erupting within the subway car. His movement wasn't a spontaneous act of heroism aimed solely at saving the terrified elderly woman cornered by the mob. It was a precisely timed, calculated maneuver executed just as Namwoon Kim prepared to deliver the killing blow. Utilizing the ensuing confusion, perhaps augmented by a subtle trick or item to create a brief visual obstruction like smoke, Doja navigated the panicked press of bodies. While appearing to shield the fallen woman, his true objective lay hidden nearby, a container, likely forgotten pet supplies, holding live insects. In a swift, almost unnoticed gesture amidst the turmoil, he located the container and discreetly passed it to the young, trembling boy Gil-young Lee, who had been watching nearby. With this crucial element secured, Doja pivoted, turning to face the aggressive teenager Namwoon Kim and the desperate individuals swayed by his violent rhetoric. Doja didn't waste breath on pleas for morality or compassion. His approach was one of cold, calculated logic aimed directly at their self-preservation. "Wait," he commanded, his voice cutting through the din. "Let's say you kill that grandma." What next? He expertly dismantled their short-sighted plan, highlighting the fundamental flaw. The scenario demanded each survivor kill a living organism to avoid the death penalty. Killing one person wouldn't save the group. "Will you kill the person beside you then?" he challenged, planting seeds of doubt and suspicion amongst the potential murderers. Having effectively fractured their immediate, violent consensus, Doja played his trump card. He reminded them of the scenario's specific wording, kill one or more living organisms. The requirement wasn't limited to humans. He then gestured towards the insects he'd procured, presenting them as a viable, non-lethal alternative. "There are other ways," he stated calmly. The effect was instantaneous and profound. The mob's murderous intent, moments before focused on the elderly woman, evaporated, replaced by a desperate, primal scramble for survival. The insects, previously insignificant, became the most valuable commodity in the car. People lunged, stomped, and fought over the scattering creatures, the grim reality of their situation underscored by the frantic hunt for tiny lives. In the midst of this renewed chaos, Doja calmly crushed an insect underfoot, simultaneously squashing its eggs, a detail he knew from TWWSA would count as multiple kills, securing his own survival and earning a 100-coin bonus for achieving the first kill in the cabin. However, Doja's manipulative genius did not go unnoticed. Namwoon Kim, recovering from his thwarted attack, fixed Doja with a sharp, perceptive glare. "Isn't it amusing?" Namwoon sneered, seeing past the facade of helpfulness. He recognized that Doja hadn't acted purely out of altruism, but had skillfully orchestrated the entire desperate scramble, perhaps even deriving a certain satisfaction from the chaos. Namwoon didn't just see the outcome. He recognized the calculating mind that had engineered it. Intrigued, or perhaps sensing a kindred spirit in ruthlessness, Namwoon posed a direct question, cutting through the pretense. "Say honestly. You wanted just this outcome, didn't you?" Before Doja could respond, a system window materialized before him, personal skill character profile activated. This unique ability, likely tied to his reader status, allowed him to view the system-defined details of others. He focused it on Namwoon Kim. The profile confirmed the teenager's stats, age 19, a dangerously high agility level, and the telling attribute, Chunibyu, often translated as edgelord or middle school second-year syndrome. Profile's general evaluation was chilling, a Chunibyu who has potential to become the delusional demon. Beware. This confirmed Doja's extensive knowledge gleaned from reading TWWSA. He knew Namwoon wasn't just adapting, he was thriving. And now, this future menace, apparently recognizing Doja's cunning as a valuable asset, made an entirely unexpected proposition. "Team up with me." Simultaneously, a system notification pinged. "Character Kim Namwoon has developed a favorable impression of you, and your understanding of character Kim Namwoon has increased." Doja was left facing a critical decision: align himself with this dangerous but potentially powerful ally, or maintain his solitary path, all while the scenario's timer relentlessly ticked down below the 3-minute mark, the fate of the remaining survivors hanging precariously in the unsettling proposition from the volatile teenager Namwoon Kim, an offer to form an alliance forged in the immediate aftermath of brutality. Doja Kim delivered a response both simple and definitive. "Sorry. I work alone." This rejection stemmed not from arrogance, but from Doja's unique, burdensome knowledge. He understood Namwoon's trajectory within the narrative of 3 ways to survive the apocalypse. Aligning with the future delusional demon, however advantageous in the short term, was a path fraught with betrayal and escalating darkness. His refusal, perceived as insolence, ignited Namwoon's already simmering rage. Spurned and perhaps seeking an outlet for his aggression, Namwoon immediately reverted to his previous target, lunging towards the defenseless elderly woman, intent on securing his own survival through her sacrifice. Doja, however, could not stand idly by this time. He moved swiftly, physically intercepting Namwoon, grabbing his arm mid-strike. "I really hate guys like you," Doja stated, his voice laced with genuine contempt not just for Namwoon's immediate actions, but for the archetype he represented, those who readily embraced cruelty when societal constraints dissolved. This direct physical confrontation, coupled with the verbal challenge, pushed Namwoon over the edge. Recognizing Doja as a genuine obstacle rather than mere posturing, Namwoon unleashed his inherent power. "Move," he snarled, activating his innate skill, Grimdark Awakening LV-1. A swirling vortex of dark, Doja evaded, relying entirely on the predictive power of omniscient reader's viewpoint. He was physically outmatched, unable to effectively counterattack, but the skill allowed him a crucial edge, perfect defense through perfect foresight. His strategy became clear: stall. He needed to prevent Namwoon from killing the old woman until the scenario timer expired. With less than 2 minutes remaining, the tension was palpable. Namwoon, growing increasingly furious at his inability to land a decisive blow on the strangely evasive Doja, unleashed another skill revealed by Doja's character profile. Knife fighting LV-1, a vicious slash connected, slicing through Doja's arm. Pain, sharp and real, shot through him, a stark reminder that despite his knowledge, he was still vulnerable. In that moment of pain, Doja confronted the fundamental truth of this transformed world. It wasn't that the world had suddenly become cruel. Rather, the underlying ruthlessness, the constant struggle for survival inherent in existence, had merely been stripped bare, its rules made explicit by the scenarios. The social niceties and illusions of safety were gone. Hesitation, morality divorced from strategic necessity, these were luxuries he could no longer afford. If he faltered, if he clung to the old world's values without adapting, he would die. A crucial memory, a detail from the novel about the first scenario, surfaced. The system counted insect eggs as individual living organisms. Checking his status confirmed his earlier kill had registered not as one, but as over 100 kills due to the crushed eggs. A flood of system messages confirmed this, notifying him of substantial coin gains. 100 coins have been obtained as a basic kill reward. You have killed 123 living organisms. Excessive slaughter has earned you the achievement Decimator. He had accrued thousands of coins. With Namwoon momentarily stunned by Doja's inexplicable survival and the timer rapidly approaching zero, Doja seized the opportunity. Ignoring the system tutorial prompts, he accessed his coin reserves and made a rapid, decisive investment. He poured 2,700 coins, the bulk of his earnings, directly into his basic stamina stat. A wave of power surged through him as the system confirmed the upgrade. Stamina LV, 1 Stamina LV, 10. His physical resilience skyrocketed. Just as Namwoon recovered and lunged for another strike, Doja stood his ground. The blow landed, but this time, amplified by his vastly increased stamina, Doja absorbed the impact with noticeable ease. Namwoon stared, bewildered by his opponent's sudden, impossible toughness. He attacked again, frantically trying to overpower Doja as the final, precious seconds evaporated. The clock struck zero. Main Scenario 1 has ended. Instantly, horrific screams echoed through the blood-soaked. The deafening silence following the brutal execution of the failed passengers hung heavy in the blood-spattered confines of cabin 3807. The system's impersonal announcement confirmed the stark reality. Main Scenario 1, Prove Your Value, has ended. The stalwart soldier Hyunseong Lee, the compassionate office worker Sang Yu, the quiet young boy Gil-young Lee, the flustered businessman Myung-go Han, and finally the architect of their unlikely survival, Doja Kim himself. Amidst the survivors, the lingering presence of Namwoon Kim abruptly vanished. His desperate final pleas, "Help me, why didn't you save me?" directed accusingly at Doja, echoed only in memory as the system penalty claimed him, leaving behind only rapidly dissipating dark energy and more bloodstains. Doja watched his demise with a complex, almost unsettling lack of overt emotion. He registered the system notifications confirming his own kill count. 1 grasshopper, yes, but critically, 123 microscopic insect eggs, each counting as a life extinguished according to the scenario's ruthless logic, and a substantial net gain of 3,500 coins after various bonuses and deductions. The relative stillness was broken as the subway train, defying all logic, lurched back into motion, rattling along the damaged tracks. As it moved clear of the tunnel, the windows revealed a scene far removed from the familiar skyline of Seoul. Towering, monstrous shapes moved in the distance, and closer, patrolling the corrupted waters of the Han River below the ruined bridge, was a colossal sea serpent, an ichthyosaur, instantly recognizable to Doja from the pages of TWWSA. Panic began to rise among the other survivors, but Doja calmly reassured them. "It's okay for now," he explained, drawing on his novel knowledge. "Those things out there usually don't attack unless it's part of an active scenario." He pointed towards the ethereal form of the Dokibai, which had reappeared nearby, its body shimmering with faint, star-like lights. "See those stars? Those are the constellations watching us through this creature's channel. The more viewers, the more stars." He mused internally on the profound irony. Yesterday, he was the solitary reader consuming a story. Today, he was the character being consumed by countless unseen eyes. His internal commentary was punctuated by system messages. Some constellations, impressed by his actions, gifted him 500 coins. Others, likely patrons of Namwoon, registered hostility. Sangha, still reeling but deeply grateful, approached Doja. "TWWSA, thank you. She stammered, trying to process his seemingly contradictory actions, stopping her from intervening earlier, yet ultimately providing the means for survival. Doja offered a brief, almost perfunctory apology for stopping her, then quickly brushed off her gratitude. "Nothing to thank me for," he stated, his focus already shifting. Attention turned to the young boy, Gilyong Lee, who clutched the insect container Doja had given him earlier. Recognizing the boy's crucial role in future events according to TWWSA and the immediate need to build a trustworthy party, Doja made a calculated move. "Hey, kid," he began, offering a gesture of connection in this terrifying new world. He formally offered the container and its remaining contents to the boy. "This isn't much, but take it. We need to stick together to survive." This act of apparent kindness was immediately registered by the watching constellations, earning Doja another 200 coins for a good deed. Just as this fragile new dynamic began to form, the Dokibai floated forward, interrupting with saccharine cheerfulness. "Congratulations on safely passing the first scenario," it chirped, seemingly oblivious to the trauma and bloodshed. It then announced the reward, the sponsor selection, a critical opportunity for the survivors to gain the direct patronage and thus power from one of the watching constellations. "You're all quite weak right now," the Dokibai stated bluntly, highlighting their vulnerability. "Without a sponsor's backing, you won't last long." With a dramatic flourish and a snap of its fingers, it initiated the selection process. Bright blue system windows materialized once again before Doja Kim and the other 4 survivors, presenting them with the most important choice they had faced yet. With the Dokibai's pronouncement echoing in the blood-soaked carriage, the pivotal sponsor selection commenced. Before each of the 5 survivors, Doja Kim, Hyunseong Lee, Sangha-yu, Gilyong Lee, and Myunggo Han, they were instructed to choose one constellation from the presented list. Failure to choose would result in random assignment. Sangha noted aloud that Doja had 4 options, hinting that the number might vary between individuals. Doja meticulously examined his list, his mind racing, cross-referencing the cryptic titles with the vast repository of knowledge from 3 ways to survive the apocalypse. The first option, Abyssal Black Flame Dragon, radiated an aura of immense, destructive power. Doja recognized this entity immediately. While undeniably potent, especially beneficial for raw destructive capability in the early scenarios, this constellation was infamous in TWWSA for its corrupting influence, inevitably driving its incarnations towards uncontrollable power and madness. It was likely the same entity that had shown interest in the deceased Namwoon Kim, drawn to his violent potential. Doja dismissed it. Power gained at the cost of sanity was a poor bargain. The second choice, Demonic Judge of Fire, presented a paradox. Despite the intimidating name, Doja knew this was the moniker used by the Archangel Uriel, a being of absolute good and immense righteous power. Sponsorship by Uriel offered significant strength and protection, particularly against demonic forces. However, her rigid alignment often imposed severe restrictions on her chosen incarnation's actions. The third option, Secretive Plotter, was a jarring anomaly. This name had never appeared in the 3149 chapters Doja had obsessively read. It was a complete unknown. Was it a minor constellation, newly emerged or insignificant, or perhaps something far more ancient and subtle, operating outside the main narratives he knew? The mystery was intriguing but posed too great a risk. Choosing an unknown sponsor was tantamount to gambling with his life. The final name on the list sent a wave of disbelief and awe through Doja. Prisoner of the Golden Headband. The accompanying description left no room for doubt. This was the great sage, heaven's equal, Sun Wukong, the legendary Monkey King himself. The sheer magnitude of power represented by this entity was almost inconceivable at this early stage of the scenarios. Sponsorship by the great sage offered abilities that could fundamentally reshape Doja's journey, granting him unparalleled strength and potential. Yet the offer itself was perplexing. Why would a constellation of such supreme status, typically aloof and selective, offer patronage to an ordinary human like him, especially so early on? Was there a hidden catch? As Doja grappled with this monumental choice, weighing the corrupting power of the dragon, the restrictive righteousness of the archangel, the gamble of the plotter, and the overwhelming potential of the great sage, the system's timer abruptly ran out. The sponsor selection time has ended. A generic message followed. An interesting choice was made. The Dokibai is looking forward to the next scenario. The ambiguity was maddening. Did he make a choice subconsciously? Did someone else select a powerful sponsor? Was the interesting choice even related to their cabin? The system offered no clarification, leaving Doja in suspense before the Dokibai vanished once more. In the tense quiet that followed, Lieutenant Hyunseong Lee approached Doja, his demeanor formal despite the horrific circumstances. Lieutenant Hyunseong Lee, he introduced himself properly, extending a hand. Thank you for what you did earlier. If it weren't for you, the casualties would have been much worse. Doja, knowing the importance of securing the loyal and powerful soldier as an ally, accepted the handshake and the gratitude, acknowledging the lieutenant's strength. However, this fragile attempt at establishing order was shattered by Myung-go-han. The businessman, unable to reconcile the collapse of societal norms with his ingrained sense of status, aggressively confronted Doja. "Hey, contract worker, aren't you going to call me Mr. Han?" he demanded, clinging desperately to the irrelevant hierarchy of their former workplace. Doja, having no patience for such delusions, responded with blunt force. "Shut up, Myung-go-han," he commanded, his voice cold. "Do you still think your position matters? That company we worked for is gone. Our lives depend on surviving this, not on who was whose boss." He physically shoved Han back, driving home the point that the old world's rules were dead. Having asserted the new power dynamic, one based on capability and awareness, not past status, Doja turned his attention to the immediate critical danger. "We have to get out of this car, now." His urgency stemmed from his certain knowledge of the impending arrival from cabin 3707. Staying meant confronting this monstrously powerful figure. Despite Doja's warnings, fear kept the others rooted. Hyunseong Lee voiced concerns about the dangers outside, preferring the known confines of the damaged train car. "There's something worse coming," Doja insisted, trying to convey the magnitude of the threat without revealing his omniscience. "The real danger isn't outside, it's right next door." His desperate conviction finally broke through their paralysis. They began a frantic search for a functional exit, checking each door along the car, finding them warped, jammed, or completely destroyed. With each failed attempt, the ominous sounds from the connecting door impacts, scrapes, the signs of someone forcing their way through grew terrifyingly louder, trapping them between the known horrors within and the deadly unknown approaching. With the terrifying sounds from the adjacent cabin 3707 growing louder, the 5 survivors in cabin 3807 frantically searched for an escape route. Door after door proved jammed or broken. Hope dwindled until Sangha located one final door that seemed potentially operable, though still damaged. Doja Kim, assessing the rapidly closing window before the protagonist of the original story arrived, knew they needed more than just luck. His gaze fell upon Lieutenant Hyunseong Lee. Recognizing the soldier's crucial role and inherent strength, Doja decided to leverage his unique knowledge. While considering using his accumulated coins to boost his own strength further, Doja activated his character profile skill, confirming Hyunseong's impressive stats, military skills like bayonet and camouflage, and most importantly, his unique stigma, Great Mountain Push LV. Trusting Doja, Hyunseong focused his will, unleashing a surge of energy that successfully blasted the damaged door open. Just as freedom seemed within reach, the Dokibai reappeared, visibly irritated. Complaining that its preparations for the next official scenario were interrupted, it nevertheless acknowledged their attempt to progress. With a snap of its fingers, it declared the arrival of the second challenge, sub-scenario escape. The objective was clear: cross the collapsed railway bridge and reach Oksu Station on the other side within a strict 20-minute time limit. The penalty for failure remained ominously undefined, as the survivors emerged onto the bridge overlooking the Han River. Sangha pointed out a discrepancy. The bridge wasn't collapsed, as the scenario description implied. Doja, however, understood the nuance. Their early exit from the train meant they had arrived before the bridge's scheduled destruction in the original narrative. "Don't worry about it and just run," he urged, knowing the collapse was imminent. Their desperate sprint across the bridge began. Far below, the monstrous ichthyosaur sea serpent breached the water's surface. Doja reassured the others that, according to TWWSA, this particular beast wasn't interested in attacking humans directly at this stage. Its purpose was to destroy the bridge itself. Calculating their speed, Doja believed they could make it across just before the structure gave way. But the Dokibai, monitoring their progress, found their potential success anticlimactic. "It's no fun if the game is too easy, is it?" it chirped maliciously. With another snap, it arbitrarily increased the scenario's difficulty from E to D. Immediately, dark, ethereal energy, black ether, began to rise from the corpses littering the bridge. The dead passengers stirred, reanimating as grotesque, demonic zombies that lunged at the fleeing survivors. Forced to fight their way through the undead horde, the group pressed onward. Just as Doja reached the threshold of Aksu Station, signifying completion of the scenario for him, the enraged ichthyosaur slammed into the bridge supports directly beneath his feet. The structure buckled violently. With a final, desperate cry of "Everyone get down!" As Doja Kim plummeted towards the churning, debris-filled waters of the Han River, the roar of the collapsing bridge echoing above, a sense of fatalistic resignation washed over him. He had navigated the initial scenarios with cunning born from his unique knowledge, manipulating events and even exploiting loopholes, yet miscalculating the bridge's structural integrity seemed like a final, ironic end. But just moments before he struck the water, an utterly unexpected intervention occurred. A blinding column of light erupted from the heavens, striking the very air around him. A system message flashed across his vision, announcing an event that defied the established rules. The constellation Deus Ex Machina has triggered its special effect. The intense light enveloped Doja, arresting his descent completely. He instinctively attempted to access his own character profile through the system interface, desperate to finally understand the unique attributes the authors present. Yet once again, the familiar blue screen denied him, displaying the frustrating message: "Exclusive skill, character list is unable to view your summary." His existential introspection was brutally cut short by a new, immediate threat emerging from the shadows beneath the ruined bridge. Grotesque, mutated figures began crawling onto the structure, the ground rats. Doja instantly identified these Tier 9 humanoid monsters from the pages of TWWSA. He knew they were former humans, corrupted and reanimated by the pervasive black ether, individually weak but incredibly dangerous in large numbers due to their relentless aggression and sheer volume. He lacked conventional combat abilities. He needed a weapon, a means to defend himself. In that moment of desperate need, another system notification pinged, unlocking a potential solution. Personal skill bookmark activated. Doja accessed the skill interface, understanding its function. It allowed him to bookmark the skills of characters whose personalities and abilities he had a deep understanding of, storing them in designated slots for his own use. His mind immediately went to the volatile teenager he'd encountered just moments before, Namwoon Kim. Selecting bookmark slot 1, he designated Namwoon Kim's signature ability, Grimdark Awakening LV. 1. With the screeching ground rats swarming towards him, Doja activated the bookmarked skill. Dark, chaotic energy, visually identical to Namwoon's, erupted around him. However, the power felt foreign, difficult to control. Unlike Namwoon, who possessed an innate affinity for this dark power, Doja was merely borrowing it. The output was less potent, the control clumsy. Nevertheless, channeling the raw, dark energy, he managed to unleash ragged bursts, tearing through the approaching monsters. It was an ugly, desperate fight, his lack of combat training evident in the inefficient application of the power. Yet the borrowed skill, even partially mastered, proved sufficient to neutralize the immediate wave of attackers. As he fought, he felt his understanding of Namwoon Kim deepening, a subtle feedback loop inherent to the bookmark skill. Panting from exertion, surrounded by the dissolving remains of the ground rats, Doja registered the sub-scenario timer ticking relentlessly down, just under 10 minutes left. His gaze instinctively turned back towards the devastated train wreckage on the far side of the ruined bridge, and then he saw him. Emerging from the smoke and twisted metal of cabin 3707, a figure stood silhouetted against the apocalyptic backdrop. Lane, clad in simple clothing, yet radiating an unmistakable aura of honed lethality and unwavering purpose. There was no need for a character profile. Doja knew, with the chilling certainty born of reading 3149 chapters, precisely who this was. The protagonist, the central figure around whom the entire epic of 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse revolved, had finally made his entrance onto the stage. Junghyuk approaches with heavy, deliberate steps, his towering figure casting a shadow over Doja. He demands sharply, "Who the hell are you?" Doja, sprawled and vulnerable, feels panic rising. His mind races. "I'm supposed to face this guy? I don't stand a chance." A system message flashes, personal skill, character profile activated, too much information, converting to character summary. The summary reveals Junghyuk's terrifying power, the regressor, 3rd round mythical, pro gamer, rare. Skills like Eye of the Sage, close combat, and weapons proficiency, all at level 8. Before Doja can process, Junghyuk grabs him by the throat, squeezing tightly. Doja chokes, struggling to breathe. As Junghyuk's grip tightens, Doja's thoughts spiral. This man, strangling me, is the key to surviving the apocalypse. Junghyuk, you, the regressor, who will ignite the tragedy that flips this world. Junghyuk's piercing gaze locks onto him as he growls, "How are you still alive?" Across a broken bridge, Sangha and others strain to see through an invisible barrier. Sangha's voice trembles, "I can't see anything." Heewon whispers, "Doja," worry heavy in her tone. Back in the confrontation, Junghyuk, framed against a fiery, apocalyptic sky, demands name. Doja, gasping, mutters, "What?" Junghyuk repeats, "What is your name?" Doja's mind snarks, he's so full of himself, playing the protagonist. He answers, "Doja Kim." Junghyuk pauses, thinking Doja a strange name. Doja adds lightly, "I get that a lot." Without warning, Junghyuk punches him in the stomach. Doja doubles over, pain flaring as Junghyuk remarks, "You have a strong body." Junghyuk notes, "You figured out how to use the coins." Doja, catching his breath, starts to reply, "Yeah, I'm assuming you also," but Junghyuk slams him against a surface, cutting him off. Doja groans, thinking, how is he this strong? We've only cleared one main mission and a sub-mission. He's a monster. Junghyuk warns, "Don't waste your breath. Answer my questions, got it?" Doja's mind screams, this is the worst. He reflects, in the early chapters of TWWSA, Junghyuk is the most dangerous character. After regressing 3 times, he's lost his humanity. He'll do anything to get what he wants. Junghyuk presses, "Well," Doja, defiant despite the pain, says, "Fine, show me some respect." Junghyuk scoffs, "Why should I?" Doja, managing a smirk, retorts, "Sorry, but you're younger than me, pro-gamer Junghyuk Yu. You should show me respect." A system message chimes, "Junghyuk Yu has become cautious of you." Junghyuk narrows his eyes. "Do you know who I am?" Doja lies smoothly, "Of course, I work for a game company, you're pretty famous." "I used to be a fan." Internally, he admits that's a lie. Junghyuk was just a fictional character in TWWSA until now, but I'm not lying about being a fan. I liked you, hated you, resented you, and cheered for you through your 3,000-episode journey. Junghyuk, surprised, murmurs, "A fan? I haven't heard that in a while." His tone hardens. "I'll forgive your impudence, but that won't change anything." Doja sighs, "I can see that." Junghyuk leans in with one final question, "How did you survive the subway?" Doja, expecting this, thinks, I knew he'd ask. He counters, "If I tell you, will you let me live?" Junghyuk replies, "That depends on your answer." Doja scoffs internally, liar. He strategizes, "I'm not TWWSA's only reader for nothing. What can I say to make this regressor spare me?" The system chimes, "Your understanding of Junghyuk Yu has increased. You've unlocked level 2 of omniscient reader's viewpoint. Activate." Doja hesitates, sensing Junghyuk's thoughts. Only Hyunseong Lee and Namwoon Kim were supposed to survive. Namwoon's dead and others lived. How? Who is this man? If he's a threat, I'll kill him. Doja smirks, realizing he can glimpse Junghyuk's mind. With the sub-scenario timer ticking, 5 minutes left, Doja answers, "I was lucky. I spotted the kid with insects because he fell after an explosion in the car ahead." Junghyuk's mind reels, the future's changed. The explosion, the insects, was it because I started with an explosion this time? He thinks subway car 38-7 should have been a deathmatch, with only Namwoon Kim and Hyunseong Lee surviving. Doja, watching him, teases, "Your mouth's wide open." Junghyuk's suspicion grows, he's too calm for a newbie. The world's collapsed and he's unfazed. He must have killed Namwoon Kim, he's dangerous. Doja, sensing the tension, says, "If you're done, can you let me go? Let's head to Oksu Station together. Time's running out." Junghyuk tightens his grip, making Doja choke. "Not so fast." His eyes glow with an intense light and Dokja realizes this is Junghyuk's SS-grade skill, Eye of the Sage. The skill can reveal attributes and hidden information, the ultimate detection tool. Dokja thinks, why wasn't he using it? No, this might be good, I don't know my own attributes. If he sees them, I could learn too. But the system intervenes, the fourth wall activated. The fourth wall has detected Eye of the Sage. Junghyuk flinches, pain flashing across his face as his skill is blocked by a digital grid. Shadowy ichthyosaurs are repelled around Dokja. The fourth wall has blocked Eye of the Sage. Junghyuk glares, stunned, and demands, what are you? The sub-scenario looms, escape, get across the collapsed bridge to Aksu Station. Difficulty D-time limit 20 minutes, reward 200 coins, penalty unknown. With only 2 minutes and 14 seconds left, the tension is palpable. Kim Dokja reels, his mind spinning with disbelief. No way, I had a skill that could block the Eye of the Sage. He grapples with the revelation of his own powers. First bookmark, now the fourth wall. His abilities are unfolding faster than he can comprehend. Junghyuk's expression darkens, his thoughts cold and lethal. I have to kill him here and now. Dokja, sensing the shift, panics internally. Damn it, I've complicated things. He stammers, Junghyuk, wait. His mind races for a new strategy. There's no way he'll believe me now. I need a new plan. Desperate to de-escalate, he appeals to logic. You need a trustworthy ally. You can't clear Scenario 46 alone. You know that, right? Junghyuk's eyes narrow. How do you know that? Are you also a regressor? Dokja dodges the question, focusing on utility. What matters isn't who I am. What's important is that I can be useful to you. Junghyuk's mind churns. He's not a regressor. I'd know him. Then could he be? Dokja seizes the moment, making a bold claim. Junghyuk, I know the future you don't know. A system message chimes. Junghyuk, you has activated lie detection. Another follows. Lie detection has verified you are telling the truth. Junghyuk's shock is palpable. This can't be another prophet besides Anna Croft. In Korea, an info box clarifies. The prophet attribute, unique in TWWSA, allows future sight and passively neutralizes detection skills. Only one character was known to have it. Junghyuk presses, by chance can you use future sight? Dokja nods vaguely. Something like that. Junghyuk digs deeper. So you knew I'd be here? Dokja confirms, yes. He elaborates, Junghyuk, I know you have a special power. You know the future too, right? But your knowledge is incomplete. Over a cosmic backdrop, Dokja narrates, regressors know the future from repeating their lives, but changing the present alters that future. Eventually, they face an unknown future, unless they repeat every past action exactly. Dokja makes his pitch, make me your companion and I can complete your knowledge of the future. Internally, he reflects, a prophet would be irresistible to someone like Junghyuk. And I can play that role because I was the only reader of this story. Junghyuk weighs the offer. If he's a prophet, he'd be useful not just for Scenario 46 but against the Zarathustra. Yet doubt lingers, can I trust him? A companion, the sub-scenario timer ticks down, 50 seconds remaining. Then, 40 seconds, Junghyuk decides, I've made up my mind, I'll make you my companion. Dokja's surprise is cut short as Junghyuk grabs him, dragging him forward. Dokja coughs, whoa, W8. A glowing bridge materializes before them. A system message explains, Deus Ex Machina, bridge of even numbers. A bridge of light blessed by a constellation, crossable only by an even number of people. It collapses with an odd number. Junghyuk pulls Dokja onto the bridge. Across the bridge, voices likely Sangha or Hewon express worry. What's happened to Dokja? One asks. Another replies, we'll have to wait and see. Dokja, being dragged, feels relief. Hugh, I'm safe. I convinced the regressor, but the system warns, you are worn out from excessive concentration. Omniscient reader's viewpoint deactivated. Dokja's anxiety spikes. My skill's off, but I've done all I could. I convinced Junghyuk and we're crossing. Junghyuk suddenly stops and turns, his expression grave. One last question. He challenges Dokja, if you're really a prophet, you'd know your own future, right? Dokja groans, dangling precariously as Junghyuk holds him over the bridge's edge. Below, monstrous ichthyosaurs lurk in a dark abyss. Dokja's dread surges. I have a bad feeling about this. Junghyuk demands, prophesy, will I let go or not? Dokja curses internally. Damn this psychopath. But his knowledge of Junghyuk kicks in. I know him better than anyone. If he's the same Junghyuk I read, he speaks firmly. Let me tell you a couple of things first. Junghyuk raises an eyebrow. What? Dokja lays out his terms. First, I'm not your lackey, treat me as an equal. Second, just as I cooperate with you, you must cooperate with me. Junghyuk responds calmly, I see, so your answer, Dokja defiant snaps, just let go already and get lost, you bastard. Junghyuk releases him. Dokja plummets screaming, ah. From the bridge, Junghyuk looks down. I believe you, you really are a prophet. Dokja's defiance, implying Junghyuk would make him a lackey or that equals don't hold on, proved his point in a twisted way. Dokja, falling, thinks, ha, that bastard. He plunges toward an ichthyosaur's gaping maw. A system message declares, you have failed to clear the scenario. Bubbles rise through dark, murky water as Kim Dokja finds himself trapped inside the stomach of a massive ichthyosaur, surrounded by sloshing fluids and scattered debris. He struggles, clutching his chest, desperate to hold his breath. I'm barely hanging on, I can't pass out now. The creature swims forward, its movements rocking the cavernous interior. Dokja coughs, retching, but finds a pocket of air. I've made it to its stomach without being torn apart or digested for now. He rummages through the mess, searching for anything useful, his eyes scanning the vast, grotesque space filled with undigested items and creatures. What a sight, he mutters, frustration creeping in. Damn it! Surfacing in an air pocket, he pants heavily, his anger flaring at Junghyuk. What a psychopath! Companion, my ass. He speculates, is this a test? Does he want me to prove my worth as his equal? Reflecting, he understands Junghyuk's motives. He's never had a true companion since failing his first round. As a regressor, his power made him a revered savior, but it turned him into a lone wolf. To him, humans are either subordinates or enemies. Dokja's resolve hardens. This is probably a test to prove myself, that son of a bitch. He checks his messages, open message log. The system reports. You have failed to clear the scenario, proceeding with checkout. 100 coins deducted for channel usage fee. Constellations chime in. Prisoner of the Golden Headband agrees with your provoking remarks, gifting 100 coins. Floating inside the ichthyosaur, Dokja notices it stirring. It's on the move. His mind races, recalling TWWSA. Ichthyosaur stomachs secrete acid about 3 minutes after ingesting prey. I don't have much time. A crackle of energy announces the arrival of Bihyung, the Dokibai. Haha, I'm a bit disappointed. It was getting interesting, Bihyung says. Dokja, unfazed, recognizes him. The Dokibai. Bihyung tilts his head. You don't seem flustered at all, despite your situation. Dokja smirks confidently. Because I've been waiting for you. Internally, he taunts Junghyuk, just you wait. His resolve strengthens. I'll get out of here in one piece and gain the power to stand as your equal. You'll have no choice but to accept me as your companion. Bihyung, intrigued, asks, You've been waiting for me? Coins, Dokja explains. You have coins to collect from me. Since I failed the scenario, you take my coins as a penalty. Bihyung raises an eyebrow. Coins. Not your life, Dokja reasons, recalling the sub-scenario. Penalty for failure. If it was death, it would have said so. That means there's room for negotiation. He concludes, doesn't it? Bihyung laughs. Interesting. I'm impressed you caught that tiny clue. No wonder the constellations have their eyes on you. He confirms, you can buy your way out of failed sub-scenarios with coins. The price is 51 coins to save your neck. Dokja's jaw drops, checking his balance. 100 coins, 51 coins, he exclaims. That's too expensive, Bihyung shrugs callously. Then die, Dokja snaps, you shameless SOB. Bihyung retorts, I'm doing you a favor. Pay up or call it quits. Dokja glares defiant, then just kill me. Bihyung blinks, stunned. What? Dokja repeats, kill me. Internally, he's certain you can't. I'm drawing a crowd for you right now. The constellations are hooked because of me. If you meant to kill me, you wouldn't have come here. Bihyung's annoyance grows. Haha, you're pissing me off. What are you trying to pull? Dokja lines in, using Bihyung's name. Low-grade Dokibai Bihyung, how's your career as a streamer going? Bihyung reels, alarmed. What? How do you know my name? Dokja presses. Not well, I assume. The constellations have been stingy lately, haven't they? Bihyung stammers. Who the hell are you? How does a human know this? System messages flash. A few constellations grow suspicious of your identity. Secretive plotter's eyes sparkle at your plan. Dokja whispers, why don't you shut off the channel for a minute so we can talk? Bihyung hesitates, then the feed crackles off. Alone, he demands, how do you know about the Starstream? An info box explains, the Starstream system broadcasts footage galaxy-wide. Constellations are subscribers, humans are actors, and Dokibai like Bihyung are streamers bridging the two. Dokja brushes it off. That's not important now. Bihyung snaps. What? Dokja's offer is bold. Bihyung, don't you want to be the Dokibai king, to surpass Dokgak or Gildal and become the greatest streamer ever? Bihyung gapes, stunned. Dokja extends his hand, his gaze intense. Dokibai Bihyung, enter a contract with me, and I will make you the Dokibai king. Dokibai Bihyung's face looms close, his eyes wide with astonishment. He bursts into laughter, doubling over. You're crazy, out of your mind. Still chuckling, he adds, I should have known when you rejected all the constellation's offers. A flashback shows the sponsor selection screen, listing Abyssal Black Flame Dragon, Demonic Judge of Fire, Secretive Plotter, Prisoner of the Golden Headband. Dokja reflects, that's right, during sponsor selection I didn't choose a constellation. Bihyung, calming slightly but skeptical, says, I don't know how you know about the star stream. He continues, but I can't accept your offer. I'm a Dokibai, not a constellation. I can't be your supporting constellation. Dokja cuts in, you don't get it. Bihyung blinks, confused. Dokja clarifies, I never asked you to sponsor me. It's not your power I'm after, it's your channel. Bihyung stammers, my channel. Dokja offers, let me break it down. Bihyung snaps sarcastically, is your English patch malfunctioning? Dokja presses, I want an exclusive contract with your channel. Bihyung's eyes widen as he grasps it. Wait, you want a stream contract with me? Dokja nods, yes. An info box explains, stream contract, a deal between constellations and Dokibai. The Dokibai hosts a constellation's incarnation, earning a share of their coins as commission. Incarnations are often seen as slaves by constellations, with no say in the contract. Bihyung, in his thoughts, notes, incarnations usually have no control over this. He scoffs, you've got a sense of humor. His tone turns menacing. How dare a mere human mention the stream contract, especially without a supporting constellation? Dokja remains calm. That's exactly why you should accept. Bihyung's confusion deepens. What? Dokja poses, why do constellations join star stream channels? He explains, subscribers split into two groups. First, ethereal figures flit between channels. Thrill seekers chasing entertainment. Then, a shadowy figure eyes an incarnation. Incarnation seekers hunting someone to sponsor. Dokja continues, to make your channel thrive, you must satisfy one group, either make it entertaining or showcase an incarnation subscribers want. Bihyung, grudgingly impressed, says, not bad for a human. But how's that your concern? Dokja retorts, how thick are you? No wonder your subscriber counts 3 digits. Bihyung snaps, shut up and get to the point. Dokja paints a vision. What if a channel could entertain and showcase compelling incarnations? Bihyung thinks, impossible. Dokja adds, constellations seeking incarnations leave after sponsor selection. But what if an incarnation refuses a constellation? Standing confidently inside the ichthyosaur, he concludes, and what if that incarnation outshines everyone else, despite having no sponsor? Bihyung catches on. Is that why you skipped a constellation? Dokja confirms, yes. He describes the constellation's frenzy. They're in an uproar, begging you to reopen the channel, wondering who dared challenge the regressor. Imagined constellation questions swirl. Why was he eaten? Can he foresee the future? Is he a prophet? Bihyung, flustered, interrupts. Stop, you're full of yourself. Humans can't compete with sponsored incarnations. Dokja stands firm. That's what I'll prove from now on. Just do what I say, and I'll make you the Dokibai king. Bihyung tries to pivot. Let's start with checkout. Pay 510 coins. Dokja cuts him off. What? I didn't fail. Bihyung blinks. Dokja smirks. I must have fulfilled the condition right about now. The ichthyosaur wobbles. Bihyung, puzzled, watches as Dokja says, open the channel. Standing resolute, Dokja adds, it's starting soon. A loud ding echoes. A system message flashes before Bihyung. A hidden scenario has arrived. He gapes as it reveals, hidden scenario, Commander Slayer. Category, hidden, difficulty, A+. Time limit, 10 days. Reward, 9,000 coins. Penalty, death. Bihyung, swamped by constellation messages, mutters, oh, dear constellations. He pleads with them, please calm yourselves. The stream shut down due to a server error, not on purpose. Constellations accuse him of favoritism. Bihyung defends, I'm just a Dokibai, I'd be exterminated for that. A streamer's vow isn't taken lightly. Dokja, browsing the Dokibai shop, asks, are these the only items available? Bihyung, frazzled, replies, there's a search function. Dokja thinks, I threatened him to open the Star Stream Cash shop, Dokibai shop. The interface shows items like starter pack and set box, with Dokja's balance at 51 coins. Bihyung explains to the constellations, the shop only opens when the channel's live. The hidden scenario arrived during the closure. Dokja nudges, "Hey, a little help," Bihyung points, "Search button's bottom right." Dokja thanks him and thinks money-grubbing Dakibai no different from humans. He searches Ancient Dragon. Bihyung gasps, "Holy crap, how do you know about the Ancient Dragon?" Dokja plays coy, "Just a cool name I thought of, common in games." The shop displays the heart of the Ancient Dragon. Grade SS description imbued with Ignitus's mana grants Hellfire affix on transplant. Price 1,500,000 coins. Dokja muses in TWWSA, its owners in Italy, sponsored by a filthy rich constellation. I regret not picking one sometimes. Bihyung thinks he's lying. Dokja searches again. Archdemon's eyeball, white star weapon aura. Bihyung's bewilderment grows. How does he know all this? Dokja completes his purchases. Bihyung asks, "You bought 4 bags of mucus and 4 thorns. What use are those?" Dokja replies cryptically, "You'll see." The items: Stone Hog's Sharp Thorn 100 coins, Hammer Seahorse's Mucus 100 coins. A system message confirms you spent 800 coins. Bihyung warns, "No refunds, you know." Dokja nods, "I know." Constellation reactions roll in. Secretive plotter is curious. Abyssal Black Flame Dragon is displeased. Dokja mentally snaps, "No one's forcing you to watch." Bihyung announces, "Channel B -7623 closed." He reminds Dokja, "I haven't agreed to your offer yet." Dokja nods, "We'll negotiate after I clear this scenario." Preparing to act, he says, "I should get going." Bihyung, with a hint of challenge, replies, "Let's see if you can clear it." "I can't watch you constantly." Dokja smirks, "You do that." Bihyung, thinking how arrogant, offers a traditional farewell, "May the story bless you." The channel reopens with a flash and ding. Channel B -7623 opened. Alone, Dokja checks his watch, 9:41 p.m., not much time before the stomach acid kicks in. He rubs 2 Stone Hog's Sharp Thorns together, friction sparking. He tosses them into a pile of Hammer Seahorse's mucus, igniting a burst of flame and smoke inside the ichthyosaur's stomach. The creature thrashes violently. Dokja braces himself, exclaiming, "Here it comes!" Clutching a lit thorn, his face set with determination, he thinks, "I will make it out alive." Straining, he prepares for what's next. Shooting stars streak across a dark night sky, growing closer over a distant cityscape. On the water's surface, the massive ichthyosaur thrashes in agony, fire and smoke pouring from its mouth, a result of Kim Dokja's fiery gambit inside its stomach. The creature roars, its violent spasms shaking the water before it begins to sink, its flesh decaying rapidly. Inside the beast's rotting innards, Dokja wades through squelching fluids and remains, exhausted and panting heavily. How long has it been? He wonders, his breath's ragged. Did I overestimate myself? His thoughts turn introspective. I'm just an ordinary reader, a Dokja. He recalls the meaning of his name, reader in Korean. I'm not the protagonist of this story. His mind drifts to his mother. I wonder if she's fine. She should be, knowing her. He questions his reality. This can't be a dream, can it? I wish it was. The old world wasn't great, but at least I didn't have to risk my life in a giant fish's stomach. Lying among the decaying remains, Dokja pants, the environment continuing to break down around him. Suddenly he looks up, exclaiming, "Wow," as a realization hits or something shifts. A beam of light shines down and Bihyung's voice echoes, "I have to hand it to you." System messages flash. Several constellations are impressed by your survival skills. You've been gifted 100 coins. It's the 4th day of the hidden scenario. Dokja, weak and weary, lies in the ichthyosaur's remains. Bihyung appears, impressed. "I had no idea you'd use the thorns like that. That was unexpected." A bright light flares, signaling a shift. The system declares, the hidden scenario has ended. You've received 9,000 coins as a reward. You're the first to hunt a Tier 7 sea monster, earning 1,000 coins as an achievement reward. Dokja, exhausted but relieved, gasps, "I'm alive!" Bihyung explains Dokja's method to the constellations. Stone hogs live on coastlines, preying on small sea creatures with sharp thorns that pierce and dry them out. A flashback shows the item, Stone Hog's Sharp Thorn, 100 coins. Bihyung continues, but to use it this way, he's equally stunned by Dokja's use of the Hammer Seahorse's mucus. "I didn't even know it could protect against the ichthyosaur's stomach acid." Another flashback. Hammer Seahorse's mucus, 100 coins. Dokja's internal recollection clarifies, before the thorn took effect, I covered myself in the mucus to shield against the acid. He adds, I drank the ichthyosaur's filtered bodily fluid through the thorn to stave off hunger. A system message confirms, you've absorbed the ichthyosaur's strength. Stamina level increased from 11 to 12. Bihyung narrates, after that it was sheer willpower. Hammer seahorses, preyed on by ichthyosaurs, evolved this mucus to survive. Dokja mutters, it still hurts like hell. Bihyung, flustered, says, I'm supposed to explain that. Dokja quips, just helping since you were struggling. A system message adds, your pain is partially nullified by the fourth wall. Bihyung rallies the constellations. Wasn't that an amazing survival drama? Dokja grumbles. Jerk, just open the Dakibai shop. Among the remains, he spots a glowing object, the ichthyosaur's nucleus. I'm selling this, he decides. Put it on the Dakibai auction house and I'll only trade for broken faith. Bihyung, shocked, mutters, how does he know all this? Does anyone even have that? Dokja starts to say, and I want to buy, but pauses. Bihyung cuts to the constellations. We'll be back after these advertisements. A stream contract agreement appears. Incarnation Doja Kim is bound until clearing all scenarios or death, cannot choose a constellation, must stay on Bihyung's channel, and profits are shared via mutual agreement. Bihyung admits watching you clear the hidden scenario convinced me. He presents a scroll. Dokja, surprised, says, a written contract. Bihyung replies, I thought humans liked this. I don't get it. Dokja nods, let's do this. Bihyung's pleased but notes, except for one clause. Dokja points out, it's missing the most important part. Bihyung, thinking he means a seal, says, a stream contract is soul-bound. Dokja interrupts, the ratio. Bihyung flinches. Recovering, he offers 50-50, no channel usage fee. We split gifted coins evenly. Dokja scoffs, do you think I'm an idiot? Bihyung stammers, it's the market rate. Dokja explains, normally, a constellation's incarnation appears on a Dakibai's channel, and the constellation shares gifted coins with the Dakibai. But I have no constellation. When constellations gift me coins, you get a hefty commission. Bihyung flinches again. Dokja demands, I'll take all the coins, you keep the commission. Bihyung's outraged. That's preposterous, he counters, 70%. Dokja threatens, all or I move to Gildel's channel. Bihyung tries 80%. Dokja stands firm, all or nothing. Bihyung, furious, points to the restless constellations. They complain about prolonged ads, sighing over commissions, with eyes waiting for Tuesday night baking cookies endlessly. Bihyung groans, fine, damn it. Dokja presses, you'll sign. Bihyung adds, one more thing. Dokja snaps, what now? He demands, I get a 5,000 coin contract fee. Bihyung's utterly defeated. Finally, Dokja emerges from the ichthyosaur, gasping on a shore. My first fresh air in 4 days. He reflects, I thought it'd take 2 days, but 4's not bad. Junghyuk took 4 on his 4th round. Smirking, he notes, I signed a stream contract, devastated Bihyung and made coins. Not a bad start. Bihyung, dejected, hands over 5,000 coins. Dokja muses, I could never get signatures before, but reading TWWSA made me extraordinary. A system message chimes, the fourth wall is still active. Dokja wonders, and this skill, a glitched message reads, Persona the 4 is still a system error. He tells Bihyung, I can't access my attributes window. Fix it, Bihyung denies, the system doesn't err. He tries, Dakibai Bihyung attempts system interference. But the fourth wall activates, blocking it. Bihyung's shocked. Dokja marvels, it blocks even Dakibai interference. I'd make a great con man, no one can see my attributes. Stepping away from the shore, a system message announces, you've entered the second main scenario area, it's highly contaminated. Dokja clutches his throat, choking, it's here. Purple, poisonous fog rolls in, you've been exposed to the poisonous fog. Constellation, abyssal black flame dragon smiles insidiously. Gazing at the desolate, contaminated cityscape, Dokja declares, the real game begins now. A desolate, foggy cityscape looms under a modern building, a disclaimer warning of violent depictions. Monstrous, worm-like ground rats with glowing green highlights emerge, their claws slashing through the ruined urban sprawl. More swarm, their eerie glow cutting through the haze. A faded convenience store sign peeks through the fog. Kim Dokja sprints, sliding into a building, likely a subway station entrance, moving swiftly deeper inside. System messages blare, the scenario area is highly contaminated. Hold your breath and quickly get underground. With the Elaine monkey's lungs in his mouth, Doja thinks this should be enough. Now in cleaner clothes, he hurries. I better get to safety. The item's effect will wear off soon. I wasted too much time changing. The item's details flash. Elaine monkey's lungs, neutralizes deadly poison, 20-minute duration. A weak voice calls from the darkness. Help, a slumped figure pleads. Help me. Doja, still gripping the lungs, turns to see a woman collapsed on the floor. There's still someone alive. He thinks, stepping toward her as she gasps, help me. Doja dashes through the fog, recalling Aksu Station was destroyed because it was above ground. The closest underground station is Jumho. He reaches Jumho Station's entrance, but a metal shutter blocks it. Damn it, it's closed off. Panting, he considers, how about the other side? Approaching exit 4, he hears rattling behind the shutter. 1-2, the shutter bursts open and a man inside yells, what the fuck? Others flinch in alarm. Carrying the injured woman, Doja demands, open up. A man snaps, no, you can't come in. Get lost, Doja retorts, I have an injured woman. Another argues, it's overcrowded, no room. Doja fires back, that's not my concern. He thinks, overcrowded, did that happen in TWWSA? Holding the Elaine monkey's lungs to the woman's mouth, he bites his own, grabs the shutter, and hears screams as ground rats attack from within. Run, someone yells. Doja rushes in, carrying the woman as a system message confirms. You've entered a safety zone. He hands her the lungs. Hold this in your mouth. It won't fully heal you, but it'll neutralize the poison. She pants, and Doja wonders, was there a character like her in TWWSA? She probably didn't make it this far in the novel. He considers, should I use character profile, but a shout interrupts. Over there, that's him. A group of rough-looking men surrounds them, their leader growling, who the hell are you? Doja replies calmly, if you ask who I am, Doja Kim. The leader Chialsu snaps, Doja Kim. Is that your name? Doja nods, yes. Chialsu thinks he talks like Junghyuk Yu. He clarifies, I wasn't asking your name, who the fuck are you? A goon points at the woman, look. It's that woman from the minor group. Another adds, wasn't she supposed to come back with you guys? Chialsu flinches, evading, well, about that. The woman glares and Doja pieces it together, so that's what happened. Sarcastically, he snaps, you assholes, how dare you do that without my permission? Internally, Doja muses, in post-apocalyptic stories, there are always stereotypical villains. A goon laughs, calling the leader Chialsu, apologizing as if Doja were someone else. Doja thinks Chialsu doesn't ring a bell, not someone to worry about. He reflects, I always thought lawlessness was a cliched way to depict the apocalypse. The goons demand, hand her over, and Doja's supplies, that looks like food. Chialsu smirks, leave it and scram, I'll let you live. Doja's thoughts darken, real humans are worse than story cliches. Something bad's coming, system messages flash, prisoner of the golden headband is angered by the grunts, demonic judge of fire is furious at the injustice. A ding announces. A bounty hunter scenario has been generated at the constellation's request. Doja glances at the system, muttering, not to me. Chialsu, misreading, sneers, ignoring my advice. Poor things, Doja clarifies, but to them. Demonic judge of fire looks forward to righteous judgment. A grunt lunges, I'll teach you not to mess with us. Chialsu threatens, count of 3 or you're dead. The bounty hunt scenario appears. Eliminate the grunts, difficulty F clear condition, eliminate the grunts interfering with the story. Time limit, 5 minutes. Doja moves fast, smashing one grunt down, then another. Oof, a goon gasps, who is that guy? How's he still standing? Another wonders, does he have a constellation? Doja explains internally total stats, stamina, strength, agility determine battle outcomes. Mine sum to 33 while theirs are single digits. A grunt groans, I can't move, he keeps aiming for the legs. Even with a constellation, stats decide the victor. Facing Chialsu Bang, now injured, Doja pulls up his profile, Chialsu Bang 34, supporting constellation. Monarch of the Small Fries. Attribute, Assault Captain Common. Skills, Dogfight LV, 2 Bluff LV, 2 Stigma Threaten LV. A small fry lucky to have a constellation overestimates his combat skills. Doja recognizes Chialsu Bang of the Cheoldu Gang, the bird brain from Jumho Station in TWWSA. He wonders, Junghyuk should have killed him. Why's he alive? Chialsu smirks, you've killed before, we're not so different. Doja's mind flashes to suffering people he couldn't save. Chialsu taunts, you wanted to watch them fight for their lives, didn't you? The word murderer echoes. A ding sounds, the fourth wall blocks Chialsu's bluff. Dokja punches him hard. Whack! Chialsu screams, ah! Dokja snaps, don't run your mouth. Monarch of the Small Fries is amused, gifting 100 coins. Dokja notes his constellation is infamous for not valuing incarnations. He thinks I plan to finish him quick, but this changes things. 2 minutes remain. Monarch of the Small Fries, a masochist, loves watching idiots suffer. Dokja hits Chialsu again. Whack! The woman pleads, stop, let him go. Dokja reflects, humans are weak, yet so cold-blooded and cruel. Flashing back to the goon's betrayal, he thinks the apocalypse is their excuse. He asks Chialsu, why did you do it? Is it instinct? Chialsu, barely conscious, curses, just kill me, you son of a bitch. Screw this fucked-up world. Dokja sees, not instinct. There's despair in his eyes, like mine, even before the world ended. He lifts Chialsu, musing, maybe we're not so different. 10 seconds remain. Dokja snaps Chialsu's neck. Crack. He declares, the world has ended. The sub-scenario is fulfilled. You've received 300 coins. Monarch of the Small Fries is satisfied, gifting 100 more coins. The woman, horrified, gasps, Chialsu. How could you be so cold-blooded? Dokja concludes, and I have to adapt to this new world. Carrying her, he tells the remaining grunts, take me to the others, heading toward Jumho Station's entrance. A subway map glows, highlighting Jumho Station among Yaksu, Gagi, and Aksu. Kim Dokja, carrying the injured woman, steps into Jumho Station. The crowd stirs, shouting, it's the Chioldu group, and someone's hurt. A voice calls for help. Can someone give us a hand? From the clamor, a familiar voice cries, Dokja. Lee Hyunsung and Jung Hee-won push through, relieved. Hee-won exclaims, my God, Doja Kim. Dokja sprints forward. Hee-won rushes to him, hugging tightly. Dokja, you're okay, thank God. Overwhelmed, Dokja replies, I'm sorry I left you behind. Hee-won reassures, it's okay, you had no choice. Hyunsung sighs in relief. Hee-won adds, thank God Jung-hyuk-yu was right. Dokja blinks. Jung-hyuk-yu, she explains, he said you were probably still alive. Dokja asks, where is he? Hyunsung answers, he left the station yesterday. Dokja processes this. The Chioldu group should have died by Jung-hyuk's hand. They're alive because he left in a hurry. He reflects, Jung-hyuk, a regressor in his third round, is a monster who monopolizes everything. He left to chase his goal, tying up loose ends. Hyunsung, puzzled, says, what? Dokja brushes it off, just talking to myself, force of habit. A system message chimes, secretive plotter is pleased you're talking out loud. Hyunsung notes, one person's missing. A voice shouts, Mr. Han, but is drowned out by, clamor everyone out of the way. A group led by a man in a suit, In-ho-chin, pushes through. Dokja's shocked how. In-ho locks eyes with him, you. A flashback shows In-ho being dragged away days ago, labeled the worst of the worst, downright evil. In the present, In-ho, now in charge, smirks, haha, come on Han, play nice. We're all survivors, he greets Dokja, pleased to meet you new guy, your name. In-ho introduces himself, I'm In-ho-chin. Dokja thinks, I've heard that name. Facing In-ho's followers, Dokja notes, he has a supporting constellation and leads this group. The Chioldu group works under him. He'll make me pay for beating them. In-ho's grip tightens, but he says, the others said you fought monsters and saved my men. Dokja's stunned. What? In-ho announces, everyone gather. This brave new member brought food. The crowd cheers, food, something to eat. In-ho welcomes, welcome to Jumho Station, Doja Kim. Dokja's wary, so this is how it's going to be. Secretive plotter is excited. He observes 87 people in Jumho Station, fewer than expected. In-ho explains, only those in the cabin or near the station survived. Dokja notes, nobody cleared the first scenario without killing. In-ho nods, everyone here's a murderer. Dokja sees the divide. Jumho split into major and minor groups. The major group laughs while fed saying, the chairman's doing what he can, will be rescued. The minor group starves, a child crying, Mommy, I'm hungry, while a woman whispers, the government will help. In-ho comments, as expected of Hanyong Corporation's young master. Dokja thinks, even among murderers, humans divide into strong and weak. Did they think there was no other way? In-ho rallies, don't lose hope, we'll leave this place. He glances at Dokja, explaining, the major group controls food distribution but we're low, so we send scavengers. Hyunsung tells Dokja, Huiwon, the woman you saved, was assigned to scavenge. Only minor group members never return. Dokja notes, Hyunseong didn't join the major group, though they'd want him. He says, I see what's going on. Hyunsung admits, I thought I should stay with the minor group. Something about the major group felt wrong. He adds, I'm a hypocrite, worrying about right and wrong after everything. Doja taps his shoulder. It's better to worry as a hypocrite than not at all. Don't forget that. Doja's eyes harden. Just because it was unavoidable doesn't mean it didn't happen. It can't be justified. In-ho approaches. A word, he offers. Join our group. Lead with me. Doja challenges. If I refuse, In-ho laughs. Refuse. That hadn't crossed my mind. He gestures. You're a hero who saved people. With your power, aren't you obligated to lead? Doja retorts. You're going to use me like that? In-ho insists. Cooperate for survival. Can't you see they're suffering? Doja walks away. At exit 4, Hyunsung asks, should you have refused? Doja replies, did you want me to accept? Hyunsung looks away. No, he recalls In-ho's parting words, come find me if you change your heart. Doja had said, that'll never happen. In-ho laughed, we'll see. Doja shrugs, we'll see. It's dinner time, hungry. He offers snacks, pepperoo, chicken chips, sunfish SNPS, green wings. Hee-won grins, you're pretty cool. Hyunsung and a child eagerly accept. A shout interrupts. Hey! Cheolsu's old group, now under In-ho, approaches menacingly. One accuses, you're monopolizing the food for yourselves. Another adds, others helped get it. Why keep it? They demand, let In-ho handle it. You get your share, Doja thinks. The most dangerous person in an apocalypse isn't someone like Cheolsu, driven by despair. He recalls In-ho-chan from Jumho Station. The truly dangerous ones use others' despair for power. In-ho appears backlit, the word choose looming. His voice frames Doja's dilemma. Will you be a hero by sharing or a villain by monopolizing? Doja glares In-ho-chan. His hand glows with aura. A ding sounds. You've entered the second scenario area. Find and move to the location where the scenario will be activated. The major group shouts at Doja's group, let In-ho redistribute the food. Get your share like everyone else. Don't hog it. In-ho-chan smirks, addressing Doja. Now Doja, it's time to choose. He thinks influencing these people is a breeze. He presses, do you see you must do as I say to survive? To the crowd, In-ho announces, everyone calm down, there's a misunderstanding. Doja has agreed to join our group. He muses, we'll collect and redistribute the food as always. He'll have no choice but to play along, but Doja cuts in loudly, stop. The crowd turns to him, he states, of course I'll share the food. In-ho thinks, there we go. Doja adds, but not for free. In-ho, shocked, stammers, what do you mean not for free? The crowd murmurs, one asking, are you selling the food? System messages flash. The eyes of a few constellations sparkle with excitement. Secretive plotter scoffs. Doja glances at In-ho, telling the crowd, I'm no charity worker and I don't trust those people. A voice asks, then for how much? Another echoes, is money okay? Doja replies, no, I'll only accept coins. The crowd buzzes. Lee Gil-yong, worried, says, Doja, is this a good idea? Hyunsung adds, isn't 50 coins per item too expensive? In-ho interjects, I'll charge 10 coins per item from now on. System messages chime. A few constellations are relieved you're not an idiot. They've gifted 100 coins. Doja thinks it's only right, looking at Hee-won. She steps up, I'll pay immediately. I don't need free food. Introducing herself, I'm Hee-won Jeong, thanks for helping me earlier. Doja shrugs, it was nothing. He turns to Sangha and Hyunsung, get a hold of yourselves. This isn't time to sulk, Hee-won tells them. He risked his life for this food, don't leech off him like the rest. Sangha, chastened, says, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking straight. No freebies for me. Hyunsung agrees, I'll pay too. Doja nods, if you insist, you know how to trade coins. Sangha confirms, yes, I learned a few days ago. Sangha explains, touch index fingers, think of the coins to exchange, and a system message confirms. Gil-yong Lee has paid you 20 coins. Doja blinks, you gave me 10 extra. Gil-yong says, for this morning's chocolate. Doja thinks he's better than those shameless adults. A few constellations show interest in Gil-yong Lee. Hyunsung notes the major groups monopolizing food here. Hee-won elaborates, everyone else is fed bread then sent to scavenge like cattle to slaughter like I was this morning. Sangha adds, no one seems to mind the major group's actions. Hyunsung agrees. Doja says, that's why your declaration matters. Hee-won asks, but shouldn't you sell to others at 10 coins like us? No one's buying at those prices, even with our discount. Doja replies, we'll wait and see. At night, Sangha offers, get some shut-eye, Doja. I'll keep watch, he declines, I have stuff to take care of. A woman from the minor group approaches, awed, you've sold out. Doja thinks she's not as frail as I thought. She scoffs, what a joke, those two-faced bastards. Doja notes, it wasn't just the minor group buying overnight. In-ho steps forward. May I have everyone's attention, he announces. We're limiting food distribution to 3 biscuits per person. The crowd erupts. 3 biscuits. How do we survive? One shouts. The search party gets more. Did you think we wouldn't know? In-ho replies, you're welcome to join them for more food. A voice protests. Hardly anyone returns from the search party. Only Cheoldu gang members survive. Another adds, you're asking us to die. In-ho counters, then scavenge yourselves. The crowd stammers. In-ho continues, there's still a way to get more food. Dokja taught me a lesson yesterday. He thinks the major group bought over half my food, paying in full. Dokja, you've dug your grave. To the crowd, he says, Dokja was right, nothing's free. In-ho activates Insight LV. 2. Prove your worth to eat. We'll exchange food for anything useful. That's how the world works. Dokja thinks, so this is how it's going to be? The crowd, swayed, says, thanks for the lesson, Dokja. Angry eyes glare at Dokja in the dark. It's all because of him, he realizes. They're acting like idiots because of In-ho's insight skill. He-won confronts him. The major group's just monopolizing again. She adds, weren't you promoting transactions to weaken their power? Dokja nods. I wanted them to stand up. He-won snaps, then why sell to the major group? Nothing's changed, Sangha thinks, her insight's impressive. Dokja replies, it did. I have 1,450 coins now. He-won stunned. What? Sangha asks, what's your plan? He-won doubts, can we trust him? Sangha affirms, I trust him. He-won asks, you kept some food, right? Dokja says, no, I sold it all. They gasp, what? Gilyong pokes him, can we trust him? Dokja blinks, huh. Dokja offers Gilyong food. For me. Gilyong nods. Dokja says, I'm fine, you have it. To the group, eat all the food you bought yesterday by today. Hyunsung hesitates, but Dokja insists. Alone in a dark subway tunnel, He-won approaches. Everyone who went that way died, gangsters or not. You're not going, are you? She adds. Did I thank you for saving me? Dokja replies. I think you did. She thanks him again, pointing. That man with a limp tried to rape me. Dokja recognizes the guy I beat up. He-won warns, don't touch him, he's mine. Dokja thinks she'd have died without me. I wonder if she has a profile. Constellations would like her. A ding brings up Huiwen Jiang 27, no constellation, 3 interested. Dokja's surprised, a shout interrupts, they've taken the women and elderly. He-won runs, stop them, they won't survive the search party. Hyunsung argues, they'll starve here. Dokja thinks, crouching figure. A rare super-evolutionary attribute in TWWSA. He explains, common but can evolve into rare or legendary based on experience. The Berserk Butcher, a top 100 incarnation, started with it. To Hyunsung, stopping them won't change anything. The food shortage will repeat this. He muses, I thought she was an extra, but she could be a companion. Her demon-slaying skill with crouching figure could make her an indiscriminate murderer. He-won asks, the root problem's food, right? Dokja agrees, I guess. She presses, what if we get rid of it? Dokja realizes he should be here any minute. Sparks flash as a new Dakibai appears. People scream, it's a Dakibai. It stammers, hello, how have you been? Dying of boredom. The Dakibai in charge is being disciplined, so I'm handling this scenario. A spark flares. Dokja thinks, not Bihyung. The Dakibai sneers, you look so peaceful. Dokja panics, damn it, Bihyung, what's he done? With a snap, a ding announces, foods may no longer be stockpiled. All foods will be removed. Food vanishes. People cry, the food! The Dakibai cackles, why you should have worked harder. Snapping again, it calls them worthless earthling scum. All food disappears. It declares, and now let's get the party started. Dokja thinks this is more like TWWSA. System messages flood, survival fee added. 100 coins withdrawn daily at midnight. You'll die if you can't pay. Fee continues until the second main scenario is cleared. Find and move to the scenario activation location. The exit 4 sign of Jumho Station looms as In-ho Chin addresses the crowd. Gather around, everyone, I have an emergency announcement. Murmurs ripple through the station. He continues, given our situation, we'll need more people for the search party. He drops the bombshell. From now on, we won't share food with those who refuse to join. Dokja, reacting to the food penalty, thinks, damn it. I didn't expect an additional penalty. A system message flickers. Foods may no longer be stockpiled. All foods will be removed. Reading In-ho's mind, Dokja sees, could he have known? Dokja thinks that's why I told you to eat them. Gilyong mourns, my biscuit. In-ho dismisses, no, that's not possible. Dokja muses, that's probably what he's thinking. System messages confirm. You've successfully read In-ho Chin's mind. Your understanding of him has increased. Doctor reflects, he's suspicious but not certain I knew about the food penalty. I didn't expect this to boost my understanding. He-won asks, did you know this would happen? Doctor admits, I suspected. I thought of what the Dokibai would do to make us suffer most. Recalling the survival fee, he thinks, but I didn't expect that. System messages replay. Survival fee added. 100 coins withdrawn daily at midnight. You'll die if you can't pay. Fee continues until the second main scenario is cleared. Doctor wonders, TWSA would pull this, but it wasn't in the novel. Did my contract with Bihyung change the story? Hyunsung urges, Dokja, what do we do? Sangha asks, should we join the search party? Dokja snaps, no, above ground's a death trap. We need a new food source since the world's changed. Hyunsung, confused, says, sorry. Dokja leads them into the subway tunnels. Hee-won realizes, don't tell me. Dokja smirks, that's right. We're going monster hunting. In the dark tunnels, Hee-won asks, you're following the rails. In-ho, watching them leave, tells a subordinate, we need a team to complete the scenario. Good luck, Hee-won scoffs, that jerk thinks he's the leader. Hyunsung adds, I thought he'd lash out for not joining, but he's reassured I'm staying away. System messages note. Your understanding of In-ho-chin has increased, passing a threshold. Dokja thinks every time I impress a character, earn trust, or guess their thoughts, my understanding grows. I've done the latter. In-ho-chin is suspicious of your intentions. Han Myung-go from In-ho's group approaches. Can one of our group join your party? We want to know how to clear the scenario. Dokja thinks, of course, In-ho wouldn't let us off easy. Corpses, Hyunsung pulls her clothes. It's dangerous, hold my hand. Sangha thinks, you look more scared. Dokja says, I'm fine. Hee-won asks, are you sure about this? Dokja, eyeing Han, replies, he's no threat. Hee-won, mistaking Sangha for Hee-won, says, you haven't recovered. Sangha retorts, worry about Gil-young. Hee-won warns, the road's dangerous. We're not charging ahead, are we? Dokja agrees, I've been worried. Maybe send Gil-young and the women back. Hee-won, calling Dokja Hyunsung, snaps, I know kendo, I can fight. Dokja counters, the world changed. Saying women and children are weak is prejudice. Anyone can get strong with stats. Dokja tells Gil-young, show them. Gil-young slides to the tracks, crawling along. Hee-won gasps, what is that? Sangha cries, a cockroach. Gil-young explains, my bug collector attribute lets me talk to insects. Gil-young Lee activates interspecies communication. He reports it says we're safe for another 100 steps. Sangha asserts, I didn't come to be a burden. Han Myung-go notes, it's not just human corpses here. This place reeks of blood. Dokja sees, the road ahead is pitch black like a wall. A ding and light flash, a new sub-scenario has arrived. Sub-scenario, hunting for food. Difficulty, clear conditions. Hunt and cook a consumable monster. Reward 500 coins. Gil-young points, a monster. A tier 9 subterranean ground rat looms. Han asks, who could have done this? About dead rats. Hee-won explains, ground rats are pack hunters persistent. Dokja thinks, who else but Jung-hyuk-yu? Sangha notes, tunnels are full of monsters. Hyunsung asks, won't these clear the scenario? Dokja replies, we have to hunt, so probably not. Sangha wonders, cook them over a fire. Dokja asks Hee-won, you're good at kendo, right? She hedges, not exactly. Dokja holds pipe spears. Hee-won, gripping one, quips, feels like the Stone Age. Dokja instructs, sharpen them on rocks. You've obtained weapons using intellect. Constellations are interested in human primitiveness. They've gifted 100 coins. Sangha teases, you seemed clumsy, but you made a fine weapon. Dokja says, TWSA had a detailed chapter on butchering monsters. Hee-won marvels, coins for this? Dokja asks, you all have coins left. He orders, invest them in strength, stamina, agility, leaving just enough for the survival fee. Grimly, he warns, I don't expect everyone to survive. But try, Sangha sighs. Gil-young pleads, please. Sub-scenario, hunting for food begins. Dokja battles ground rats, stabbing with his spear. Surrounded, he fights, missing one, damn it. Panting, he kills another, then finishes the last. Dead rats litter the ground. Hee-won checks Sangha, they're not doing bad. Gil-young asks, you okay? Hyunsung asks Dokja, how many did you kill? Dokja says, 4. Hee-won grumbles, I got 2. Sangha beams, 3. Hee-won, shocked, thinks, 1 less than me, and I've invested a fortune in stats. Hyunsung's profile appears. Hyunseong Lee, 28, Constellation, Master of Steel. Hee-won envies, no wonder he's strong, Master of Steel likes him. Sangha asks, how do we cook these? Hee-won adds, not raw, right? Dokja says, we can't eat them now, but we'll find a way. Han Myung-go interrupts, I've always wanted to ask, do you know something about this situation? Dokja thinks, like regressors in TWSA, claiming hunches or lying like I did to Jung-hyuk. Secretive plotter and constellations await your answer. Suddenly, Han screams as a tentacle grabs him. Doja thinks the best way is to avoid answering, "Well done, Mr. Han." Han's dragged away, "Help me." Sangha screams, grabbed by a tentacle. Doja shouts, "Grab this," reaching for her. Prisoner of the golden headband is upset by the cliffhanger. The creature retreats. Doja stares into the abyss where they were taken. Hee-won groans, "I knew he'd get us into trouble." Deep in the dark subway tunnels, Kim Dokja's decision to venture out with only young Gil-young raises eyebrows. Hye-won or Hyun-seong, off-screen, questions why he's leaving the others behind. Dokja explains Gil-young's interspecies communication skill is crucial for tracking the monster that snatched Yu Sangha and Han Myung-go. He asks Hyun-seong to watch over Hye-won, noting she's not doing well. Despite looking exhausted, Dokja brushes it off, telling them to wait for his signal if anything goes wrong. Dokja and Gil-young step into the oppressive dark fold, a place where light itself is swallowed, disorienting even the sharpest senses. Dokja mutters that without Gil-young's skill, he'd be burning coins to navigate. Suddenly, Gil-young halts, his small voice cutting through the gloom. "You let it go on purpose, didn't you?" He's talking about the monster taking Sangha and Han. System messages flare. The constellations of absolute good frown at your evil deed. The secretive plotter glares, demanding an explanation. Dokja, inwardly rattled, thinks this kid's scary sharp. Hiding things from him won't work. He admits ground rats store their prey in layers, often with rare items, and the only way to find them is to follow their tunnels. Dokja elaborates, confessing he didn't expect Sangha to get caught alongside Han. Gil-young asks if he's just chasing treasure. Dokja nods, but Gil-young calls him out, "You're a bad liar." Squeezing Dokja's hand, Gil-young says if Dokja only cared about items, he wouldn't have saved him in the subway. System messages chime, a few constellations tear up. "You've been gifted 200 coins. Dokja reflects, Gil-young seems mature, but he's still a kid, blind to the vile grown-ups who'd exploit that. As they near the lair, a message hums. Constellations hold their breath in anticipation. Gil-young calls out. Gil-young's questions deepen. "Are you a god, a protagonist?" Dokja's stunned by his perceptiveness but denies both, admitting he's always envied protagonists. Gil-young presses, "Do you know something about this world?" Dokja confesses, "Yes, I do." Gil-young asks if clearing all scenarios grants a wish, like in stories. Dokja muses on how people cope, some go mad, others turn zealot or blindly hopeful. Glad the darkness hides his face, he confirms, "Yes, you're right." Dokja's inner voice brands him a despicable grown-up, but Gil-young's resolve to survive shines through. A system message blares, the sub-scenario has updated. You've entered the ground rat's treasure trove. Scratching fills the air. Gil-young starts, "This is," but Dokja shushes him, warning treasure isn't all that's here. The scratching grows louder, joined by a menacing growl. Voices echo, Sangha and Han arguing. Han snaps, "This is your fault, Sangha," blaming her subway commute for their predicament. Sangha fires back, confused. Han reveals she usually bikes, and Sangha realizes, "You stole my bike." Han admits it, saying her refusals of his ride offers pushed him to it. System messages flare. Demonic judge of fire despises Myung-go Han. Prisoner of the golden headband is tired of their petty argument. Dokja, listening, thinks, "I wasn't ready, but it can't be helped." Han rants on, claiming he never made a move on her, just wanted to drive her home. Han's tirade continues, insisting his intentions were pure, but dark, disc-like projectiles slice through the air. Han screams in agony. Prisoner of the golden headband is pleased. "You've been gifted 100 coins. Gil-young whispers, "What was that?" Dokja's face hardens, "It's coming." The ground splits, a dark presence surging. Black ether spills, forming flames, the nucleus of the dark root. Dokja notes this entity appears wherever a dark root lies. A shadowy, terrifying figure rises from the cracks. The Warden of the Dark has appeared. The sub-scenario, defeat the Warden, has begun. Gil-young stumbles, vomiting. Dokja, Dokja soothes him, realizing the insects tied to Gil-young's skill exploded, dealing mental damage. Gil-young says he can use interspecies communication once or twice more, but Dokja tells him to rest. Han, caught by the Warden, shrieks for help. Dokja's blade, dulled from cutting the Warden's tendrils, feels the weight of this Tier 7 demonic species. Dokja reflects, demonic species are unique, fed by the ground rat's sacrificial treasures. They outclass other monsters at their level. A system message warns, the Warden has received the Demon King's blessing. Dokja grimaces, "This isn't good, I wanted to avoid this fight." The Warden spews an aura of fear. Personal skill, the fourth wall, nullifies most effects. The warden, cloaked and skeletal with glowing eyes, towers over them, roaring. Doja grips his sword, standing defiant, ready for the battle ahead. Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay tuned for the next videos.